Everyone else can be cut and shot and all these other things, and he can cut a sword down with his hand, no problem. He just refuses to do it.
Or other times he's trying to get it going, and it won't.
All right. Well, you know what?
He'd be sleepy afterwards. I'm so tired.
He did say it made him hungry. You know, people, Marvel's The Defenders just came out on Netflix. Everybody was looking at this. The Avengers of Netflix.
Sure.
It's what they were calling this. And it's with them street level heroes that you got. You know, you got Iron Fist and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and the devil of Hell's Hey, we only can deal with one. He's too much. Don't put two of them out there. The Devil of Hell's Kitchen.
New York is so densely populated.
Ooh, look at that. You know, not only are they fighting enemies, but they're fighting each other, man. How are they going to save New York City when they can't even get along? 4 people can't even get along in a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, that's like us.
But you know what? We got to be the hero for the people out there, Martin.
That's what we do every week.
That's what we do. We put our differences aside, and believe me, Martin wants to beat my ass every week. But Martin, we are able to put our differences aside and
be defenders.
And be defenders of what? I don't know. Of bullshit.
There you go.
Defenders of bullshit. But we do it. Hey, Corey Goodwin, come on up here, man. You got them headphones on. Look at listen to that. Coming in here, not paying attention. I was listening to that trappity trap. You know what? Corey called me today because Corey is all about that binge watching on that Netflix, man.
Yeah, man, it's fun. It's dope that they put a whole season out in one day.
It really is. I'm all about the binge watching, especially when you finally cut it down from 13 episodes to 8.
Thank God.
I know.
Oh my God.
That works so well.
Like, I was able to fit this in within 24 hours while still working. So 8 hours. That's a good time.
It's a very good time.
Even with 4 heroes they're bringing together, we already know about them. We don't need to hear their stories again. We don't need 8 episodes for them to be arguing with each other and then coming together. We know where this is going. You know what I'm fascinated by is that I'm a comic book person, but I'm casual, not nearly as deep as the funny book man right here, Martin Thomas.
Sure.
Because you know what I'm looking at this, I'm fascinated that at one time, the Defenders were the Avengers. I'm talking about they were high level heroes. You know, I'm looking at these comics right here where they got the cosmic people in there like Silver Surfer and Doctor Strange and
yeah, that's what they were. They were misfits, but they weren't B-level heroes, or if they were like A-. Yeah, Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer,
yeah, Captain America up in the Hulk.
No, Captain America wasn't part of it. That's just that one issue.
Oh, okay. So, well, what is he doing?
The Hulk, Hellcat, Submariner. Like, these are guys who don't really fit in with other teams, so they put them together.
So when did they become so low rent? You know,
after that book was long gone.
Okay. Because right now, that's what they got superpowers, but ain't nowhere near the Avengers level. You know, when they say street level, they're talking about real street cheap level heroes. You know, the kind that they'll be able to save a block or two, or maybe the city if they all get along, but they ain't gonna save the world.
Yeah.
D-League.
Yeah. The Avengers focus on the world. You came to them and say like, "Hey, my city's about to be destroyed." They'd be like, yeah, we don't handle that. Talk to Luke Cage."
We had Daredevil with Hell's Kitchen. We got Luke Cage just trying to save Harlem. You know, they know their place.
Yeah.
Danny Rand, even they like, hey, man, we don't care how much money you got. Sit your ass down.
He's trying to save Wall Street?
Yeah, the Wall Street something. His bank account? I don't know. And Jessica Jones, she just got a business, like a really cheap, independent, small business trying to be a private eye. She ain't even all that good. She's strong, but she's an alcoholic. She's trying to save a couple of bars. You know?
Before it aired, I kept seeing things that said, "Oh, the word is positive on it," or what people have seen. But yeah, other than that, people just saying like, "I still hate Danny Rand, but I'm having fun enjoying the show."
All right, you know, the thing is, I don't
know. You didn't finish Iron Fist. You don't get a vote in this.
But that is
you don't get a vote.
No, that is why. Because I'm come in without all that hate that everybody that baggage everybody got for Danny Rand. You know, I'm coming because I gave up. I said, you know what? I really don't want to hate this boy, and I really do want to love the Defenders when it comes out. So I don't want anything to taint that. So I gave up after half an episode of Iron Fist. I didn't even watch. And plus, you just made it sound so bad. I mean, you came
horrible.
in. Yeah, you came in downtrodden. I mean, you look like you came in with like whip marks on your back and
like
shit.
Pookie from New Jack City.
Yeah.
You really did. Yeah, it made me go like, well, gosh, can it really be that bad? Yeah.
I would recommend watching at least a couple of these, including especially Luke Cage, because one of the things that I like about this is how they're able to bring in these characters. I think it works best when the characters come in and they all are getting to know each other. They don't get along that well. And a lot of these, and the reason why I say Luke Cage, I'll tell you about that in a little while. But if you really want to get how it is for these characters and why they come in and they don't like each other, it's good to have a little bit of background about that. Otherwise, it does just appear like they're bickering. But once you know that they're going to make a team, the bickering is a good setup for some of the things that are going to happen later.
Hey, where?
I can't be a part of this.
If you ask me, you already are. We need to put it all on the table.
I don't know you, man. I don't owe you anything.
And I don't trust you.
I love that. I mean, I don't know you, man.
Like, whoa.
I love
that.
I just love that. You need to get your black ass away from me, man. I don't know you, man.
Oh boy. Counselor, a word.
It's funny because you know that he's blind. Otherwise, he wouldn't have known how bad an ass whoop he was going to get from that.
Yeah. I can beat him. Okay. Go for it.
You go right ahead, man. You know, there are small things, and I'm gonna ask you guys about this too, because maybe you disagree with me. There are small things that are in play right there. Like even when Jessica Jones is not arguing with them, just the attitude that she has of like, bring your ass on, because you understand when you see her that she's got a lot going on too, but because she's had so much happen to her, because she's pretty much a victim of sexual assault. Mm-hmm. And you see her just not want to deal with anything. And when you see that clip right there where she's just trying to pull them away and like, look, I'm not going to be here too much longer, but while I'm not here, I'm not going to be able to break y'all up either. The interaction to me is the best part of this show. And I think that each one of these came from a background. Now, like I said, I can't talk about people just hating on poor Danny Boy, but I'll talk about him in a little bit. But
I can say something to that.
Well, I like him in this. I come in, again, ignorant of him, but I like how him being there allowed for some of the other shows to bring their thing that made them unique in there.
Sure.
Because the reason why I say you will enjoy Luke Cage much more if you see it before is because Luke Cage was all about the social issues going on with people of color, mainly black people. And, he's out trying to save Harlem, but it was also a statement about police brutality. Mm-hmm. Even if you want to get right down to economic state of black people and, in inner cities. And when you watch Luke Cage interact with somebody like Danny Rand, who's a billionaire.
Right.
And what I like about this is that they're able to like just bring that in just enough. That flavor of Luke Cage without being too political.
Right.
They're able to talk about white privilege without making it too much of a political statement and without making Danny Rand seem like he's such a bad guy. This interaction that you have here between those two is one of the best scenes in the series. When they're, they just don't see each other's eye. Hey, I'm from the street. You can't go around beating up people because you don't know where they're coming from. Yeah, well, those people have it coming because you always hear this argument. Well, those people had a choice and they can do better.
You never fought someone to protect someone else?
Of course I have.
Okay, so what's the difference?
That kid is sitting in a jail cell tonight, and you're not.
I really think that was a very small, kind of powerful scene right there, that all they had to do was just bring up a little dialogue and again, not make either one of them bad guys. These two guys don't get along at this point. Mm-hmm. But the main thing that you have to notice is that the writers were very careful to take what made those shows special.
Oh, yeah.
And that was one of the things that made Luke Cage special.
Well, especially in the first two episodes, every time they would introduce the character in a scene, that scene felt like it came out of their particular TV show.
Sometimes to the benefit, but also to the negative, because you could tell Luke Cage was shot in the fall and the other shows were shot in the wintertime. So I was like, wait a second, man. Like, how was this coming together?
Wow, man, only you would see some shit like that.
I didn't notice that at all.
But no, because you notice every time they showed a Luke Cage scene, it'd be like really orange and it would like have that hue to it. But you also look at the trees in the background, they're still full of leaves, but all the other trees, when you watch the other parts of it, they're just barren. So you're like, okay, y'all messed up a little bit. I see what the flavor you're going for. It's not a glaring thing, but it's something that you kind of notice.
Man, damn. Have you ever thought about working for the police department? I mean, you ever thought about being a detective?
Yeah, you should be a detective yourself.
Are you watching these shows with a magnifying glass and taking notes? Jesus Christ, man, you will know. And I'm giving you a compliment. He will know this shit in movies and in television shows that I do not see at all. That's why I don't like talking about these things with you, because you make me feel stupid every time I walk away.
No, man, it's nothing that takes a major part of the show and it doesn't detract any way from it. But you're watching it and you're like, all right, I get the vibe they're going for. I feel like Jessica Jones' music is the way it is and it looks the way her show does. And each character has their own defined thing. But when it comes to Luke Cage's, his is so drastically different. You start noticing things like there's still leaves in the background, people outside in T-shirts as opposed to full jackets.
Well,
so, yeah.
I'm glad that I don't want to watch this again because it certainly would detract from it. I'm not. Now I'm gonna be watching like it's the Weather Channel instead of watching it as a show.
I mean, man.
Why is it snowing over here and it's sunny over here? Man, climate change is crazy.
Yeah, especially in Harlem. It's fall all the time in Harlem.
Climate change in full effect. At least in the Marvel Universe it is. But I love the way Luke Cage is looking at him half the time like you lower end Batman wannabe motherfucker. but you know, that's what everybody thinks about Danny Rand. That's one of the things that really distracts me from the character, not the character himself, but this whole thing they're using billionaires all the time, and they can afford to go out there and be superheroes. You know, he's just Tony Stark.
He's more like Arrow, but he thinks of himself. He's more of a hippie that has access to money.
Yeah. I always wonder, like all these other heroes, they got their own thing going on. Like, how come Danny just don't ever call Tony Stark and say, "Hey man, we got some shit going down over here, and I'm working with these losers. You know, can you help me?"
Those two would not get along at all.
Really?
Yes.
All right. I will tell you this though, man. I told y'all, I said, okay, how many hallway scenes are they going to do? Because when I looked at the trailer for this, I said, okay, I'm getting tired of the hallway scenes. Now they're becoming even a cliche for this. They're just putting them in there and they're drawing attention to themselves. Because whenever villains get caught up in a hallway, they always get their ass whooped. If I was a villain, I'd just wait for them out in the parking lot or something. I would never fight them in a hallway. But this hallway scene, I have to say, I think this is the best one that they've done.
Well, every time with a lot of fight scenes, but especially this one, they have the camera constantly moving all around.
That's the thing, man.
There's a huge fight scene, I think in one of the last episode or the one before that, where the camera is constantly swirling around and you're catching people.
It's the last one.
Yeah, it's the last one. That's why I love this. I'm gonna move it back a little bit because I think there are points where they even have an edit in here, and it's badass because I like the way that there's business going on and you don't even notice certain things if you're not paying attention. Like this part where Matt Murdock, Daredevil, just get through beating the shit out of people and Elektra just walking up on his ass. and it turns around. Now that's the edit right there.
Yeah.
But it's so smooth the way it moves around. I was like, this is the first hallway scene where it's been this well choreographed.
Yeah.
I love that that everybody was fighting so hard that like they had that one scene with that dude that came out the elevator, like this dude right here. like that.
I know, he was fresh.
Yeah, that guy was. I don't even think that guy was like was with them.
Oh right.
I think he just
got caught up.
Well, I was going to the bathroom, but why not? Shit, he had a dentist appointment.
Mosh pit.
Yeah, he just got caught up in it. You know, it's great, man. From the technical end of what they want to do things, or of how they want to do things, and it works. It works for it being a television show. There's some things that really are ambitious here, and when you talk about the heroes coming together, it's not about them just having to work their differences aside, but it's also how, man, they are so street level that they have to do shit that normal people do. Like they are so street level, they don't have cars, they don't have money. Like
there's no Batmobile.
There ain't no Batmobile, ain't no Tony Stark Iron Man jet, no jet packs. It's like, man, there's a part of the city that is about to be destroyed. And they're like, man, we got to get there in a hurry. They ain't got money for an Uber. They ain't got money for a cab. Like, and only one of them got a Metro card, and they all got to take the subway to get to a very urgent destination. I thought that's a nice touch right there, man. Yeah. That's the reason why people love Spider-Man. Yeah. Because, you know, he's a superhero with superpowers, but he's still, and they riding like they bored too. Man, this shit gonna be gone by the time we get there.
Isn't that how people ride the subway at night?
No one's like, yay! There's pee on the ground.
But I thought that was a nice touch that they did that, showing them like, yeah, you know, this is what separates them from the Avengers, that they are people who are just like you and me, except they got just a little more extra power.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking about the good things with it, and I think I don't know. I don't know how people feel about it. I don't know if I'm being the minority with this or not, but I don't love this. And if people are saying it's great, I'm not in that camp, because for one, it looks like a television show. Now I know it's a television show, but when I say it looks like a television show, it looks like a standard action television show, except for a few key scenes like we were talking about the hallway. But it's also that I'm a little spoiled. I'm on that HBO shit, man. I'm looking at HBO, and HBO, I'm used to the budget that we got on some of their bigger shows like Westworld and Game of Thrones. I'm used to seeing things on television, television being praised for not looking like television anymore.
Yeah, even if you take don't even use HBO, things like Hulu, like The Handmaid's Tale and what was it, Mad Dogs, like things like that look phenomenal. You're like, wow, these look like movies, but yeah, this one felt like a standard TV show, a little bit better than like some CW stuff, but it still felt like a TV show.
Yeah. I mean, oh shit, shut up. But I know it's I'm not trying to complain about the quality of the show. They've done a lot with the budget that they have, and I know they don't have Game of Thrones budget, and I don't mind that. But there are times where it's like, okay, even with some of the fight scenes or some of the storytelling, it feels TV level. That's why I don't think this needs to be even 8 episodes long. There were 2 episodes that I got into in the beginning that I thought, you know what, this is kind of average. There's nothing going on with me in these 2 episodes right here. By the time we got to episode 3, where we got into like the characters coming together and having their differences and bringing up some of the things that make these other shows unique, is when I start to really enjoy it. Episodes 3 and 4 I really liked a lot.
Yeah, 1 and 2 it was more of a setup kind of thing, because again they're all still filming in their own respective worlds. So they like Luke Cage still, when it's on him, it still looks like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and so on. But they still had moments in there. They're like, hey, we're going to introduce this part of flavor from one episode to another. Like there was a scene where I think it was Iron Fist and Luke Cage meet for the first time, and it plays a rap song, but it's still shot in Iron Fist the way his TV show was shot. So you're like, oh wow, I appreciated that.
I didn't know how Iron Fist was shot, so I didn't notice that part of it, but I did notice how, all right, you know what, you brought in the hip hop song without making it too obnoxious.
Right.
Hey, he's black. We got to play the hip hop.
Hey, how much money is Run the Jewels getting from Marvel? Because my God,
how much money is Run the Jewels getting from everything?
Yes, man.
I'm watching another. Any of y'all watching Ozark?
No,
I
yet.
just have been hearing about it.
You watching Ozark? Boy, you too young to watch that shit. Why your mom letting you watch that? Watch something wholesome like Double Toasted.
Now.
Yeah. You a bad mama back there letting this boy watch all this stuff. No, actually, that's a good show, Ozark. You like it? Yeah, but I like it. In the closing credits, they play a Run the Jewels song. They got Run the Jewels. Well, yeah, in some movie trailers like Black Panther now. Yeah, I don't know, man. You know how it is in Hollywood. One executive gets something, and everybody just like, he's like, y'all listen to this shit, and everybody like, I'm gonna use this in my property.
Who is this new hip hop group? Like, this is their 3rd album. Where have you been?
I love this Wu-Tang. Oh man.
Speaking of that, that fight scene at the end, while it was the choreography was great, the music choice was a little bit weird.
Well, it was fine at first, and then suddenly there was like, and they put the hip hop record on. I was like, I don't know why you would do that.
And I like that song too. That's the thing. Like, it
just didn't fit the vibe, and it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it had like that standard Marvel music, like that action stuff going on in dramas. You're like, all right, it's cool, and then it just stops, and you're like, what?
You know what? I completely agree with y'all. It was near the end, and this is not spoiling anything for anybody because we're not gonna put spoilers in here. But they're fighting throughout this whole series, and for some reason near the end, it was choreographed well, like the hallway scene, but some of the music choices that they had in there were kind of weird. This is before they're fighting right here, but once they start getting into it, see if I can start getting into it. It's just chaos going on. There it is.
Yeah, protect your neck.
That's right.
It's like this is everybody's fight, not just Luke Cage's.
Yeah, and when I was watching it, I was like, "What is this reminding me of?" And it reminded me of that RZA movie. Was it the man with the Iron Fist?
Yeah,
that's exactly what it reminded me of. And I was like, that's
a good call, man. Because that is what it seemed like. Where they were careful about how they played their music before. Here it just seemed like they just threw it in.
It was just chaos, and it felt like even in Luke Cage they did it in like when he had his big hallway moment. But even when he was having his moments with Copperhead in the Luke Cage series, they were still playing
Diamondback.
Diamondback, I'm sorry. With Diamondback, he was still having.
I know. I get how you can make that mistake.
Yeah, there's a Copperhead villain too.
I get it.
But he's having that big fight, and it's still either playing like some dramatic music or like some jazz that has a lot of hi hats. So you're like, all right, I understand the tone here, but this tone, like they're fighting these ninjas in the underground, and they start playing Wu-Tang Clan. It feels really weird to me.
Well, plus that's the kind of music you play when a fight scene is supposed to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And up to that point, there was nothing fun. I mean, it's enjoyable to watch because it's so well done. But like this was for all the marbles. This is for high stakes.
This is when
point.
exactly. When the stakes
shit
are
was going
highest.
down, and they were already playing like hey, this is serious music, and then the cut right in the middle and play the fun fight scene music. I was like,
that was sloppy, man.
Yeah,
there's no other way to go around it. It was sloppy. Like the editor was on a time crunch or something. He needed some noise to fill in.
Put something in there.
Yeah, the actual musician, the score person, didn't have his shit ready in time. We had to put something in. I don't find the heroes are cool. I just don't think the Hand is that interesting as villains.
I think they could have the ability to be interesting, but they have so much like stuff going on, and they keep alluding to things like, oh, the substance or the this or the that. Like they're so mysterious that you really can't get into.
Oh, the black, what's it called? Black tea, black tree.
Black Sky.
Black Sky.
That's what's her name?
Yeah, it's Electra's Black Sky.
Yeah.
But yeah, they keep saying the substance, and then you figure out what the substance is at the end of the show, and you're like, oh, okay, all of this. Like you could have just said that's what it was at the beginning.
And I like the actors enough that I will praise them. The guy that played Murakami, I like that guy, man. And everything he said was in subtitles.
Was in Japanese.
Well, not just that, but all his different mannerisms, or that the fact that we open up seeing him doing an autopsy on a bear while he's wearing white pants. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
But he just had a manner about him where I was like, all right, hadn't seen him before. He's intriguing. I don't know what he's going to do, but I like whenever he's on screen.
Yeah, when you look at him, I don't know much about him, but that guy's got some major charisma going on.
Yeah,
and I didn't know what the fuck he was saying the whole time.
Yeah, him and you didn't have a picture of him, but Sawubde or Sawade.
Oh yeah,
that guy.
You're talking about the brother in the white hat.
Yeah, that dude.
Jean.
Yeah, I
so
liked
one
him.
day.
Yeah, I liked what he was doing too. Like he didn't have a lot of time, but I feel like for the time he did have, he did a pretty good job.
I like the way that they gave them all I don't think everybody, but every hero had their own villain that they had to go after. That's how they got connected. Like, of course, Daredevil's chasing the Hand, and something's going on with Elektra.
Right.
Danny Rand has the Hand itself, and Jessica Jones, she's connected through a client. Like private detectives do. They always get brought in by somebody looking for help or a tip. I like that Luke Cage was brought in by the black dude who was in Harlem recruiting young kids. That actor's name is Babs, actually, Babs Olasunmankun. And I like that brother right there. I like that. I like that. I like that character. What I thought was funny is that they did that to a T. Like when everybody got into a fight, Luke Cage was like, "I got the black guy." He changed he ran his ass down. He's like, "Man, I gotta get my black on right now." But everybody's talking about how Danny Rand got on their nerves. I actually thought that Matt Murdock, Daredevil, was the biggest bitch in the episode, crying over Elektra. It's like they keep telling. I don't want to ruin anything for anybody, but that Elektra gets brought back, and I'm not going to tell you how they resolve this. But they keep telling Matt. They say, "Man, look, she gone. She ain't the girl that you knew," and he's just like, "No, I can save her. I can help her."
He was thirsty.
Yeah, he was. He got on my nerves way more than Danny Rand did. Now, if anything about Danny...
I disagree.
Yeah.
No, I disagree.
See, and that's where that baggage is brought in, because y'all looking at...
I think I'm somewhere between you two.
I feel like with Danny, I think he was better than what he was in Iron Fist.
He definitely was.
Everybody was better than what they were in Iron Fist. But he still had that thing of being just so childish and like, listen, we got to get things done. And he would be whining like, I can do this by myself. I don't need you guys. I don't need this. Like, yo, man, like we're a group. We need to save this city. And he's like, no, I got it. And then going to the point where he's basically the cause for a lot of the stuff that happens.
Can I make an argument for that?
Go for it.
Being that I have Danny, I ain't got nothing against you, man. you
I watched half the episode.
Let Danny be Danny. but the reason why I'd argue that is that he spent a lot of the episodes telling people, look, he was the main one saying, we gotta get our shit together. Like he was, and everybody says, man, he's just like that annoying little brother. No, he's just like, yeah, I'm the youngest and I might be naive, but he's like, hey guys, come on guys, let's be a group, let's be a team, we can do this. And they all push him like, get the fuck out of here, and he's like, no, only together can we make this happen. And sure, he sounded annoying while he was saying it, but the moment that he said that everybody was giving up on him and things were getting serious, he's like, all right, you know what, fuck y'all, I'll do it myself. And then that's when, and what happened, he gets his ass beat for it. And I'm like, nah, man, I understand exactly where he was coming from, and I know what he was trying to do, and everybody else was the problem.
You don't even know. But even at this, because he is better in this. And I always felt watching the Iron Fist, I was like, y'all should just not have done this and just introduced him in the Defenders. And because you could ignore that and come into him here and you feel like you do. Like, oh, okay, I can see his point. And while I do have some history with him, even just in here, there's times when he's like, hey, we should get together. But throughout the rest of the series, whenever they're like, hey, man, you need to chill because you're what they want, so we can do this. This works for the better of everything. I don't want to do that. Or whenever he has some kind of plan or wants to tell people his story and they're skeptical about it, he gets this pouty face like this.
What do you mean you don't believe in dragons?
I mean, that's some scenes where he's just like this, like,
Okay. Can I? Can I?
Luke Cage, like everybody he tells his story to, they go like, "What, man?"
Can I make another argument for this right here?
I actually just watched this again before you say that. There's a part where him and it's Luke Cage and Iron Fist are having a conversation. He's like, Luke Cage is like, hey man, this you cool and all, but like I don't really believe in all this mystical stuff. It's not mystical. It's just a different way of seeing the world. Man,
All right, can I make an argument here? Because this is another thing that got on my nerves in this. We're in a world where there's now magic, gods, there's a superhero on every block right now. And for him to be like, hey, I got a glowing fist and something mystical's going on. I'm like, man, get out of here with that bullshit. I don't believe that. It's like, do you know the world we living in right now? Why is that so hard to believe?
He said it in passing though. He's like, I find it hard to believe all this mystical stuff. He's like, it's not mystical. It's just a different way of seeing the world. It's like somebody like a social justice warrior.
It's the same way Thor said. The same way Thor said, you know what? You dumb motherfuckers call it magic. It's science where I come from. You know,
no, he ain't saying it like that.
He didn't say it like that.
That's what he meant.
but even still, when people were skeptical, he wasn't all that mad and pouty about it. He was like, yeah, I get it. Y'all are just, you're not advanced enough to understand
and
this like I do.
You
yeah, I'll show it to you. As opposed to, I did fight a dragon.
Well, Danny,
put him on.
Well, Danny said, I'll show it to you too, but they didn't want to listen. They didn't want to hang out. They didn't want to get along.
Man,
I think everybody's just coming down too hard on this guy because he had a bad show.
Every time something is going on, we got to wait on him to charge his hand up. Like everybody else.
Because he don't want to hurt nobody.
No, hey, you see how half the time he's looking at his hand like, come on, hand, I'm counting on you. Oh,
you could be the best.
You're going to let me down again.
He knows that if he uses that hand, it might kill somebody. So he has to be selective where he uses
it. There's moments where, like, if you don't use your hand, like, obviously Luke Cage is invulnerable, but everyone else can be cut and shot and all these other things. And he can cut a sword down with his hand, no problem. He just refuses to do it.
Or other times he's trying to get it going, and it won't.
All right. Well, you know what?
He'd be sleepy afterwards. I'm so tired.
He did say it made him hungry. Hey, man, like I said, maybe it's not. I didn't come out of Iron Fist with anything, so that's probably why I don't see this character as being that bad. But and
that is why.
Yeah, and you know, and that's that. Yeah, and so you got a lesson right there. Don't watch that show if you want to come here and watch this, because it'll be a little more entertaining for you. Even though, getting to the end of this, I thought that there were some things in here that were just repetitive, which is why I say you don't need this to be 8 episodes, because the things that I saw in here that were repetitive, for one, they just keep mentioning how bad the hand is. And let me just say this, speaking of the hand, before I forget, Sigourney Weaver, for the being built up as the villain that she was in this, she's one of those villains that are so cool that she's got no real emotion or anything going for her. She's just really too chilled. And you just don't feel like she's even a real character there. You feel like, hey, I'm here to provide a role for this.
Yeah, I saw her kind of like comparable to like Zemo was in Civil War. It's like this person's like kind of behind the scenes making everything work, but they don't have to be out there in the trenches causing all the damage.
Yeah, you know, it's I just didn't think they utilized her that well, the way she's built up, and plus the weight that she carries, because that's what they were saying. You know, Academy Award winning actress Sigourney Weaver will be in the Defenders, and it's like, all right, well, I would expect a little more weight out of that character, not her so much. You know, I would like for her to have some material that will allow her to be, you know, the great performer that she is. I didn't think there was that much there. Very one note, very mellow performance, and not leading up to anything. Again, I'm not saying that's a lot of people might like her. I was a little disappointed by that.
She did the note well, even though it was one of them.
The ending itself does something where I don't expect the street level heroes to do this, where they just they cause massive amount of damage. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, that's what the Avengers do. Y'all shouldn't have the budget to be blowing up shit like
It
this.
was like controlled.
And it was not that
Yeah, and
bad.
it's not like it's the whole city and everywhere was abandoned.
Yeah, no, it was. It just felt like, okay, even if you didn't take it to that grand scale, it felt, well, you're just following the same pattern that some of these other movies are getting criticized for. But the thing that I like about the epilogue with this, very human. Very, very. They wrapped this up where all the characters came in, and it didn't end on some big bang or anything. It ended with them having quiet conversations with each other, trying to finally catch up with each other. Now that they've had to cross paths again and trying to reconcile with each other. I thought,
Which you usually don't get.
No,
Usually
you
something
don't.
ends with the big climax and it's sort of over, and then it's like the climax is done, and now tease to the next movie.
Yeah.
Whereas here, where there was some, you got to see the aftermath of like people talking about what happened.
and that's what benefits this being a television show.
Yeah.
Is that we're able to get that because it's about an extra 15, almost 20 minutes where you get them wrapping their stories up. Being very human with each other.
It was pulling a Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, like, come on, man, I ain't got all day. I got to get to the show. But if I was to rate this, I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's on Netflix, so saying rental is not really, an insult because it is kind of a high rental, low matinee as far as quality goes. It's not one of my favorite things that Marvel has done. It's like on the lower tier things that I've enjoyed from them. And while I think it's fun, I don't think it's written very well. I don't think the dialogue is all that great, except for those moments where you are getting the heroes together, and it's just padded. It's padded out very much. So yeah, I'm not crazy about it. I would give this a high rental, and it's on Netflix. So hey, that's cool.
I'm glad you came at it from that aspect because I feel like I'm kind of in the same boat as you are. With it being a TV show, obviously they're going to go through a range of directors, so you can kind of feel where things get a little weird from one show to the next.
Yeah.
Episode 7, I thought was directed bad, like not as bad as an Iron Fist episode, but bad. Because,
What was it that you thought was so bad about it?
there was moments where they were having a lot of it focused on the relationships of the side characters. So it had like Misty interacting with the nurse and interacting with Foggy and all them in the police station. So like I didn't like that aspect of it, but also just the way it was filmed. Like there was moments where they would be in close quarters. And it kind of had that Jason Bourne, Paul Greengrass effect where the camera's just shaking and they're having a conversation in the room. And it don't need to do that. I don't know why you're being all extra right now. But that's how it kind of felt there. But yeah, outside of that, I think it is a enjoyable show. There are moments in there where you actually can go in and have some fun. I don't like the way they deal with death in here because it kind of just makes it like if you die, it really doesn't.
You agree, my man? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like all right, if somebody dies, they can just come back. It's not a problem. So yeah, there's a lot of issues with that, but I think it is an enjoyable show. I would go with the matinee. It's not one of the ones I would probably go through and watch again, like I have Luke Cage and Daredevil season 2. Yeah. But it is an enjoyable show, and it is put together pretty well.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I wasn't watching this with a critical eye. I was because they mentioned how it was going to be more of a summer popcorn flick all the way up until it was done, and I was like, oh man, that's it. I wouldn't mind having one more. What you say about the TV quality in places? Yeah, it's true. It's just the medium that it's in. I wasn't expecting more from it. But for me, I don't know. I had a good time.
Yeah, what'd you rate it?
Beginning again, I give it a very high matinee.
Okay. All right. I thought you were going for that full price, brother.
Well, I was close, but you guys do bring up some good points.
Right.
I just wasn't looking at it for that.
Yeah.
But you know what? Also, I'm not gonna go hard on Misty Knight like I have before, but I still think she's weak.
Okay. So
I don't mind him.
Yeah, I don't mind her.
She's got 3 facial expressions.
So you probably would have given us a full price if it weren't for that damn Danny Rand.
No. I mean, they found a way to work him in and make him effective to the team. So I was okay. I actually give them points for that.
All right.
It's just between Misty Knight and Colleen Wing, I was like, man, y'all are really gumming up the works here.
Yeah, and it really made me appreciate Charlie Cox and the guy that plays Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter.
Kristen Ritter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really made me appreciate their acting capabilities more because watching Daredevil in here, like when he has his mask off and he's making those blind people faces, it's like, all right, you actually put some research into it.
Thought he was really blind. Yeah. I feel sorry for that guy.
Oh, poor Charlie.